We are discussing fatherhood, a father's role. And if you want to know what fatherhood is all about, please look at Luke chapter 2, verse 52, where we read, and Jesus grew. That means he was parented. He was helped to become a mature person. That's what it means to parent. But this parent had to do several things. To help him in wisdom. He also has to help him in stature. And he had to help him with favor in God and also in favor with man. You know, I want to say right at the beginning, a child is fathered by a village. Although we claim it is one man, one wife, the truth is, if you bring up your child in an rural city, like the way a guy called Lot did in Sodom, there'll be trouble. Because who will marry your daughters but these crooks? And you know, when Lot tried to tell them the sons-in-law to be, they just laughed. So you need to think, if you want for the good of your child, it's good to have community mindset where you think, what is it I'm doing? What then that means is that you might have to change where you are living. Since you now know it's the village, bring up your child. If the kind of children they are playing with, the kind of men, role models they can see are not right, I keep encouraging parents to understand this is a very temporary affair. If you have a child, by the age of 15, they can think clearly on their own. But those first 15 years are critical to forming what you call worldview. And I think it will be important that you understand, because a child is brought up by the village. Everybody matters, and it means you may even change your job in order to be where your child can better receive parenting by the group. So, every child has a biological father. And that biological father, if they are not dead, should have a role in the child. I keep telling mothers to understand that your child did not, if the father is a crook and abandoned you, that's not a problem between the child and the father, it's between you and the father. Don't get your child to get involved in your marital problems. A child cannot be your counselor. So always talk about positive things about the father, even if there are things you totally disagree with. Don't involve your child in your marital problems, because he is still the father. He is the biological father. He is still the father, and is supposed to play one role or the other. But then some children also have foster fathers. If the real father does not help in terms of food, you need somebody else. We normally make fun calling him Baba Mukate. But he's not the father. He's not biologically responsible for the child. But he's a person helping the child. And he also will have an input in what that child becomes. But of course, it may be not Baba Mukate. Better still, the mother has a stable marriage, but to somebody other than the man who got her the child in the first place. That person we normally call stepfather. And you have a role in it. Of course, I keep advising any woman who wants to take care of the child to always think one qualification of the man is, can he be a good father? For example, if you have a daughter and is a man who is sexually loose, how do you expect him to leave your daughter free when the daughter has no biological relationship to him? You are taking a big risk and it's not worth it. Why can't you wait until she's a little older and he can leave home? Now get married. But if you are marrying when your children are young, one critical thing is he a responsible man? Can he be a good father to my children? But those put aside, it's important to understand that every child has a grandfather of one sort or the other. Because you have parents yourself. as a mother. You are parents yourself as a man. So your parents become the grandparents of the child. And they can play a role. Many grandfathers have played a wonderful role. The children of single mothers have grown in a balanced way because of the influence of the grandfather who was available and guided them very well. So don't say, I'm a single mother, what can I do? I'm a single father, what can I do? Your parents can play a role. Make the child available to your parents more than usual because you want that influence on the child, which you cannot give. If you're a woman, you can't give male influence. If you're a man, you cannot give female influence. But then in addition to that, there are uncles. Those are the brothers of you as a parent. You call them uncles, but some are from your paternal side, others from maternal side. As you introduce your child to these uncles, some of them who have good behavior are going to be the type of people you want to be close to your child so that your child can actually be helped. But then you also have people that are fathering your child called Sunday school. In fact, I keep telling young parents, the church you choose should not be a church where you enjoy sermons. It will be the church where the children receive good Sunday school. The quality of Sunday school should determine every young parent's decision on church. Because you have been to church, you are clear. This child, they are forming their worldview through this Sunday school teacher. So as a church where Sunday school is being given people who have nothing else good to do will not be a good one for your children because that's part of fathering. But then you can also allow male mentors who are none of the above, who are willing to invest in your boy child, not in your girl child, or female mentors who are willing to invest in your female children, not your male children. And of course, pastors are expected to play a role of fathering. That's why I'm calling it a village. There should be a male figure in every child's life, and there should be a female figure in every girl's life. What I'm told is actually not that. I'm told that girls easily attach themselves to opposite, to the men, and boys find themselves attaching themselves to the mother. It therefore means even if you're a girl, you still need a woman. You need a woman mentor, and you need a male mentor. There are many single women claiming whatever a man can do, I can do. Unfortunately, if you are not a man, your child will grow without what God intended. That's why a child is supposed to be brought up in a marriage. Anything happening outside is accidental. You should not be having a child if you have not yet determined. And many of those things happen because of having sex before the wedding. I've just come from another meeting where I was telling them what is called sexual sin is having sex before the wedding. So sex to be lawful, for sex to be morally right, the guy must commit himself long term before the sex. If that happens, it means that every child will be born in a marriage. The idea of having sex without format is not right. After all, the way God created us, we are not like dogs or cows who are on heat. We can control ourselves. So you can say no to a man until he weds you. You can say no to a woman until she is willing to sign on the dotted line. That way, every child is supposed to be born in a home with two parents. One male, the other one female. But if that accident happened and you have a children and you are a single father or a single mother, then you can understand the importance of the village way of bringing up people, because that will be very important for all of us. Who is a father? I think the first thing I want you to understand, he is your source. You become who your father is. Number two, he is a conveyor of God's fatherhood to you and all families. He is like a child told told somebody, was telling her, go and sleep. He said, no, I'm feeling afraid. There's another storm. He said, no, go and sleep. God is with you. He said, no. I want God with a skin on. And that's really quite something. I've never forgotten it. God with a skin on is the father of a child. He's also your role model. For a small child, nobody can beat the father. And like I said earlier, let me repeat, if you're a good father, you will not be interested in one area. It's all the 4 areas. You must tell me, how are you helping the child to grow physically well? Physical development. We are told Jesus grew in stature. It means you feed him with a balanced diet, you allow him time for exercise, and that is a requirement for a father to make it possible. Number 2, intellectual development. It's the responsibility of a father to ensure the child knows how to write and read and knows mathematics and physics, even if himself is not the teacher. He pays the school fees. You can't call yourself a father and you are not helping your child to finish school. When you say finish school, at least up to Form 4. It's your responsibility as a parent to ensure you do that. Then we go number 4, favor with man. That is what we are calling social development. Jesus grew in favor with man. You must teach your child how to relate with others. There are boys or girls who grow up with an entitlement mentality. They go to another home, they take somebody's bicycle. You have not led them to know and respect other people's property, even as they want their property respected. They throw temper tantrums whenever something is taken from them, even if it's not theirs. It's the responsibility of a father to teach a child how to be socially stable, how to relate with the people, good and bad people. She must be told the truth that not all people have good intentions. How do you handle the ones with bad intentions? When you are growing up, you are told you cannot get a gift from a stranger. If the family wants to give you a gift, they must give the gift through your father or your mother. That's part of the social development. And you must ask yourself, are you involved? Are you helping the child to grow socially? Many people end up social misfits. Maybe yourself, you are not in marriage, but you want your child to be marriageable or able to marry because they can live with another person, even if it's a difficult person, because they have learned how to deal with easy and difficult people. That's what Jesus learned, how to grow, or we are told he grew in learning to have favor with men. And finally, he was also taught how to have favor with God, what I'm calling spiritual development. And it's something that sometimes we are forgetting. Our schools don't give a lot of effort into it, put a lot of effort into it. You need to teach the child how to worship God, the place of God in his life. Why do we need God? Who is God? Before they can go to learn it in Sunday school, the parents are supposed to set the example because they trust their parents. If they just hear it from Sunday school teachers, they wonder whether it is true. And that's something that we need to deal with. You know, Ephesians chapter 3 says, for this reason, I kneel before the Father, that's Paul, from whom every family in heaven and on earth derives its name. In other words, we as families are just representative of God. We as fathers are representative of God the Father. We as mothers are representative of God as a parent. Because all children belong to God. We as parents are stewards of God's children. And that's something you need to learn very early. That's why you cannot do with your child whatever you want. Because that's not your child. I know you are in the delivery room. You give birth to him. But the delivery room is called delivery room. Why? To remind the mother that the child does not belong to them. They only deliver the child. The child is created by God, put in your womb, then you deliver the child. The child belongs to God. So if the child belongs to God, then the way you bring up the child depends on the owner. And the owner is not the father, is not the mother, the owner is God. So don't do to your child what God will not do, because you have delegated authority, not absolute authority. You therefore need to create your home, to produce a home that is the following. And you need to check, is this true of your is this true of your home? Number one, a human development center. Given what you say, we said you can understand what you're talking about. Can your home be called a human development center, where by the time people live there, they are adjusted in society, they can eat, they are not societal parasites, they hate free things, they want to work with their hands, and not only to meet their own needs, but even to give away part of what they have. That's all the responsibility of parents, to develop. That's why we are calling it a human development center, where you live an adjusted human being, a good citizen or in society, able to contribute to society, needed by society, appreciated by society because of what they are producing. That's what fatherhood is all about. That's what parenting is all about. Number two, your home needs to be turned into a personal retreat or recharge center. You know, children are having trouble out there. They are fighting, they are being insulted. They need to know that when I go home, I go to a safe place, where home is not a fighting zone, where the father and the mother are fighting. No, it needs to be a personal retreat center, where you are moving away from, you've had a whole day of troubles. Now you can go to a place where you are appreciated, you have peace. And so by the time you go away the following day, you have recharged. It's a place it's a recharge center. It's a pity I don't have enough time. But that's something you need to check your home. Do they come to a battleground just like school was a battleground? Or do they feel appreciated, needed, and they feel they have time to recharge? Number three, the only place you can get this is home. The unconditional love center, where you are not loved for marks. You know, teachers like the children do well. If a mother does the same, she is not a mother. You become a teacher. Your child should feel appreciated even when he is number last in the class. Because you are not a teacher. You are a mother, you are a father. It means here you are loved unconditionally. That means whether you do well in school, don't do well in school, whether you win the race or don't win a race, you're okay. You have your son running inter-house competition and becomes last. You clap for him like he was number one. He knows other people may look down, but my mother is happy with me. That's what we are calling unconditional love. And unfortunately, some homes, you have to earn love. You have to get good marks. You have to be clean. You have to be... If children need to know, it is good to be clean, it's good to get good marks, but that's not the reason they are loved. They are loved with or without that. And that will be something very important for you to know. And you know, I have referred to this many times, your home needs to be the Worldview Foundation Center. We are told, and you can Google what worldview is. Worldview, they tell us, are the glasses through which you interpret life. For example, if I was red sunglasses, all of you will look red. If I change to green ones, all of you will look green. Similar, worldview is like that. Worldview are the glasses parents give to their children at what is right or wrong. One example I'm giving is I used to work for a multinational, and I took a white man to Tamarind in Mombasa. It's a seafood place. And as we went, the man said, "Wow, Mr. Nganga, how can you be so good to me?" I said, "Why? The seafood is very expensive. My parents hardly ever took us there. It was too expensive. And you have taken me here." So we went to where the food is. And I saw live crabs moving all over. I ran away. The thing that is attracting the Mzungu is what is making me run away. How can you eat snails? What's the difference between him and me? Our parents. His parents told him snails and crabs and whatnot from the sea are the delicacies. My parents told me you don't eat such things. By the time we are both adults, we are interpreting things, but not with our mind, with the worldview we were given by our parents. That's why I am very opposed to children going to boarding school early, because it means you'll get the worldview from strangers. You can still claim this is my child, but that child is not your child, Because whoever gives the worldview is the parent. So the parents will be those people, mothers in dormitories, in primary school, boarding schools. I really think boarding schools are a problem, but especially primary school, boarding schools. So Worldview Foundation Center means you want your child to grow with the right understanding of life. What is good, what is bad. That should all be determined by the worldview. And of course, as a Christian, I reckon biblical worldview. But you see, your habits are caught, not taught. In other words, it doesn't matter that you read in Sunday school something. It's the way your mother and your father live that gives you worldview. Because children are not just listening, they are watching. If the father lies, they will know it's okay to lie. If the father is a drunkard, they will know beer is okay. Now, so we need to understand that's what you are calling the Worldview Foundation Center. Let me read a few verses before I finish. Proverbs 19:18 says, discipline your children, for in that there is hope. Do not be a willing party to their death. In other words, part of producing that worldview will be disciplining your children. What does discipline mean? It doesn't mean beating them. It means showing them what needs to be done and following through to see it is done. Proverbs 22:6, start children off on the way they should go. And even when they are old, they will not turn from it. That's what parenting is all about. Unconditional love center. Look at Ephesians 6:4. Fathers, do not exasperate your children. You can be a father, but your home is becoming a place the child would like to run away from. Paul tells them that's bad fathers. Fathers should not exasperate your children. Instead, bring them up in the training and instruction of the Lord. Corinthians 3:21. Fathers, do not embitter your children, similar to Ephesians, or they will become discouraged. And when I say father, it also means mother. So the unconditional love center is something you need to think about. A child can be disciplined, can even be whipped with a belt, but the way you do it will make it from being destructive or building. If you're in anger, a child has annoyed you, don't deal with the matter then until you cool down, so that the child will not feel molested. The child will still get a beating, but in a systematic way when your temper is down, so that home becomes an unconditional love center. Worldview Foundation Center, Joshua 4:6 says, to serve as a sign among you. In the future, when your children ask you, what do these stones mean? In other words, the stones were put there to create a worldview foundation. Nehemiah 13:24, half of their children spoke the language of Ashdod, or the language of one of the other peoples, and did not know how to speak the language of Judah. Can you imagine? Your children, the language, we call it mother tongue, because it helps to create language, helps to create worldview. Which language are you speaking to your children? Ephesians 6:1, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. My time is up. Let me return the meeting back to our sister, Modoni.
Thank you very much. I've learned a lot, and if we even went home with just the 4, where we are saying that our homes, become the 4 things that you've told us. I think that is so powerful, and there are a number of things that you've talked about that is such an enforcement that in our homes we are in our parenting we are developing human development. We are having human development. We create our homes or our parenting to be a place where our children can come and recharge or retreat. And we know all of us, we also need that somewhere else. But if they can always feel that home is the place where they can come and retreat, where they can get unconditional love. And sometimes we even extend that you have to earn, the love even at home. But we need our children to know, even when we are disciplining them, like I'll spank my children, and immediately I'll let them how much I love them and how much I believe they are good people, but we had to correct that. So where they can get unconditional love, where we're not loving them more because they are bright kids, and especially when we have maybe 2, 3 kids, it's very easy to compare them and to love one who is maybe well-mannered or one who is doing well in school, and then absolutely loved that in our parenting, we're becoming a foundation for the worldview that our children will walk into. Absolutely love it. Thank you very much, John. I will allow 2, 3 people. We are 3 minutes to 9. 2, 3 people, if you can give your takeout. Karibu sana Maggie, karibu sana Maureen. 2 people so that they can be able to give a takeout, and then we will have the closing prayer. Let me start with Jackie. If you can't talk, you can type on the chat and I'll be able to read. Jacqueline, your takeout?
Yeah, my takeout, and before maybe I say my takeout, I just want to appreciate John. He has brought everything home. Yeah, if a home is a place where it's like a retreat center, then that will help children not to be scared of being at home.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've learned something from there. And also, we should allow also our Sunday schools to have male teachers, because when a child is taught by a male teacher, there are some questions that maybe a female teacher cannot handle. Yeah, so they see that male teacher as a role model, and also for them when they grow up, they want to become teachers who can also mentor other children. So, and also if some children are coming from a single parent home, then they have the male teacher that will help them also to not feel so alone. Yeah, so thank you so much for that topic, Mr. John. I really appreciate.
Awesome. Thank you, Jackie. Let me hear from Maureen, and then we'll do the prayer. Maureen?
Thank you, Molly.
Oh, hi. Today you came late.
Yes, today I was a bit, I was handling something personal that
It is well. Karibu sana.
Asante, but at least my take home is around the role of a father. And I remember he mentioned that even if you have a child, especially a daughter, and you are thinking of remarriage, you have to really look at this person. Are they able to be parents? If not, like it's a big risk to take just to bring someone in because they're lonely. But then the person if the person actually has questionable morals, we don't want to imagine what they're going to do to your child, especially a daughter. So just thinking around the role of a father, even a stepfather, what role are they going to play in your home? Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much, and karibu sana.